absolutely daft with this. This is me Wurzel Stick, I have to tell you, so I'll just leave it there for when they come on. May I just say hello, and we're delighted that you've been able to join us for Open House. I hope you've had a really good weekend, behaved yourselves, and that you come back to us nice and safe and sound. Now, we've got a really lively show today, because later we'll be enjoying a bit of Scrumpy and Western from this very famous country band.
I got a brand new combine harvester, and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres, and you've got 43. Well, I got a brand new combine harvester, and I'll give you the key.
The Wurzels, of course. Well, it's not only combine harvester power today, because we'll also be indulging in a bit of girl power in the extreme, when we pay tribute to the first British women to walk to both the North and South Poles. And we'll be seeing why broadcaster Alice Beer has changed jobs. It's a case of watchdog to shark watch. Now, it's 25 years since our first guest, unique musical style, earned the label Scrumpy and Western. Now, they took the pop charts absolutely by storm, with the likes of I Am a Cider Drinker and Twice Daily, which is quite controversial, and of course the #1 hit, Combine Harvester. Well, that Combine Harvester, I have to tell you, is still going strong, and after a bit of a tune-up, they have rolled it out of the barn and are about to release the 2001 remix. Now, apart from hoping that it'll reach the #1 spot yet again, it's all in aid of a very, very good cause, supporting the Farmers in Crisis Fund. So will you please give a very warm welcome to two of the Wurzels, Tommy Banner and Pete Budd. That's fantastic. I didn't think I was going to be rolling in the hay with you this afternoon. No. At least, actually, I left the stick in the wrong part, didn't I?
You did.
Now, listen, tell me, what does a good Scottish fella like yourself, how did you actually find your way into, you know, such a band like the Wurzels?
Well, I need the money for starters, Gloria, as every Scotsman does. I got called, though, back in 1967 by the late, great Adge Cutler. And he said, "You want to join my band, Tomer?" And I said, "Oh, I've never been to West Country, I'll try that." So he said, "Come down for 3 months." So I came down to Portishead for the World Cider Drinking Championships. What that was it was the person won who could drink the most pints of cider in an hour.
Did you indulge yourself?
No, I didn't. No, I came down because I'd been used to playing in theatres up in Scotland and theatres all over the country, wearing dinner suits and flash suits and everything. I came down, and I'd say to me, he said, "Here, Tomer," he said, "put them on." Now, he's still got the same trousers and the same bit of string as well, see? And he said, "Put them on." He said, "We're going on stage in a minute." I couldn't believe it when I went on, because we actually changed now in a ward bunker as well.
Did you?
Yeah, that was for 3 months, and here I am.
So you're now the longest serving member, as it were, aren't you? You've been in the
I
band the longest.
I need that stick boy, don't I?
He's a good stick man.
I know. What do you use your stick for?
Well, it's very handy if you're a farmer. You know, a lot of farmers use it. If a rat should run out from a haystack when you're actually haymaking or something like that, you just grab him like that, see? Or a snake. Or if you get a goose after you, you get him it.
So that's why you carry the sticks all the time.
Very handy, very handy.
So listen, Pete, you're very authentic West Country, aren't you?
Well, we try to be, yeah, we try to be.
Where were you born?
I was born in Bristol, funny enough. But biggest part of my life I spent in Wales. My family were sort of farmers over in Llangynoed, over in Bridgend.
So with Adjo, just sort of thinking, he was such a great character, wasn't he? And so sad that he died on the way back from the game.
Wonderful. Before his time, actually.
Did he write most of the material?
Well, he started the whole thing, really. He started it off because I had this thing about him that people would write songs about, I belong to Glasgow, and maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. And he thought, oh, I'll write songs about Shepton Mallet and Nebnett, Throbwell, and all those little villages in and around sort of the West Country.
I was saying, though, in the introduction, that Twice Daily became quite controversial because the BBC was very proper in those days, wasn't it?
That's when you worked for them, wasn't it?
I did, I know. So what were the lyrics in Twice Daily that they objected to?
Then, boy, see if we get this show put off the air as well.
There were several verses. I'll try and use one that's not too bad. Let me think now. I got to think.
You're getting a bit old, boy.
Yeah, you know, you get a bit of the old dementia coming in.
Senile decay.
Yeah.
So it was basically all about doing it Twice Daily, was it?
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm just a bit worried because they are a little bit sort of
So you don't want us to put, this is a live show, so you don't want us to put off.
This audience will love it. Gloria's audience will love
No,
that.
but listen, but were you
All right,
surprised at the
I'll do
BBC?
it just for you,
Okay.
Gloria.
Go on in.
She said, my dear, I do feel queer. I think I ought to tell 'ee. It ain't new bread, she sadly said, it's swelling up me belly. I ordered her to go to Dr. Joe, and she went off quite gaily. He gave her a dollop, girt thick jollop, and said, take that, twice daily.
But were you surprised at the time that the Bee were being quite prissy about it all?
Well, nowadays, I think, really, don't you?
No, they still are.
Well, yeah, that's what
Still
I
are,
mean.
yeah.
I don't think they would like us to do that on a broadcast now. I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, just tell me about going to Top of the Pops now. So there you have, you've got Wings and you've got the Stones and you've got ABBA and all sorts of people in the charts, and you end up the #1 spot in your gear.
We did. Bob Marley, actually, he was on there as well, the late,
Oh,
great
was he?
Bob Marley. Yeah, and he asked us for a set of gear, didn't he?
Well, he said, all right, man, can I borrow your gear to go on the stage and sing the song?
He multilingual, eh? Went that way.
But it must have been quite something, though, in those days, going on with such a novelty
It
song.
was marvellous,
Yeah.
yeah, it was marvellous. In fact, the whole thing has been marvellous. You know, we met some lovely people along the way. And
25 years
we
ago,
sort of
that
tend to
one.
think that our fans are our
25
friends.
years ago since
Yeah.
#1.
Who knows, if this one goes #1, we could have another 25 years in the
I'm
business.
sure you will have another
Maybe not.
25 years anyway. Let's just remind ourselves again of the original.
I'll stick by you, I'll give you all that you need. We'll have twins and triplets, I'm a man built for speed. And you know I love you, darling, so give me your hand. But the thing I like the most is all the acres of land. 'Cause I got a brand new combine harvester, and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres and you've got 43. Well, I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. Hair colour was a bit different then.
I can see the fashions have changed a bit.
Just a bit. And they used to put too much dark in your hair.
Yeah,
then.
why you dyed your hair grey, boy?
I don't know, it's pretty good, this stuff.
Now, listen, tell me about the farmers' cause, because clearly you're a great image for serving the farmers in crisis, if you like. So how did you get involved in that?
Well, what it was, the EMI decided that they were going to re-release Combine Harvester, and they got a couple of young lads there to do this remix, this dance remix.
Tractor
called it-
music.
What is it? Tractor.
Tractor.
Is it Dung Rock or something like that? And they got this, they decided they were going to do it as 25-year celebration. And we had the idea of, can we do something for the farmers or for the people from the country? We'd asked, we didn't know what we could do. We suggested to them, and they said, well, we'll have a word with the NFU. And that's where it come from. They've decided with the NFU that 50p from each copy will actually go to them, and they will distribute it to everybody.
And
who
you
needs
must
it.
have seen a lot of farmers literally in crisis with the whole foot and
I
mouth
drank with
thing.
them all the time in a little village where I live in Broadhempston, down there in Devon, and mostly sheep farmers, you know. The thing is, a lot of these guys are young people, and they've got young families, and all the cattle are and the sheep are all sort of storing up, and they've still got to feed them because they care, you know.
Sure.
And it is a dreadful shame. It's like having your whole world taken away from under you.
Absolutely.
And we just felt that we've reaped from the farmers for years, you know, and the young farmers. Now is the time to sow a bit back into the land.
Payback time.
Payback time, yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope it is going to be a #1, but I've got to do a bit of cider drinking here. So I've got to bring back a bit of that atmosphere. So have another look at
Sounds
you
good.
just a year or two ago.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, everyone, get up there then. I am a cider drinker. I drink it all of the day. I am a cider drinker. It soothes all me troubles away. Oh, arrow-arang. Oh, arrow-arang. Oh, arrow-arang. Oh, arrow-arang. Let cider be the spice of life.
Back to the 70s as well with that cider drinking.
Good move.
You apparently were trying to work out where that was and what you were doing, basically.
Yeah, I can actually remember it, actually. It was at Clapton in Gordano, a little pub
There's
called
a
the
name
Black
for you, eh?
Horse. Brilliant pub.
So a bit of cider had been drunk that night, I guess.
There's one thing that the pubs don't change over the years, you know, not in the West Country. they're exactly the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can still enjoy yourself. You don't need music.
That one's still the same, actually.
It is, yeah. The guy
Well,
used to
I'll tell you
make his
what,
own cheese and everything now.
We're looking forward to hearing the song at the end, the revamp, the remix, the disco version, I think, of the Combine Harvest. I can't wait to hear
You've been
it.
on the side, are you? I wouldn't.
Not yet, but I've got it waiting
all
over
right.
there. Anyway, thanks to the Wurzels. Thank you very much
Thank you,
indeed.
Gloria.
Thank you. Well, now, I can see that today's chef is very hard to work in the kitchen, but before she gets too much cider inside her herself, I think we better go and join Anne Stark. Are you going to come with me then? Okay, lovely. See, she's a good Yorkshire woman now, just waiting for the lads there.
Hello,
Hi, good
How are you, my dear?
I'm very good, thank you.
Tell you what,
Hello, dear. Nice to
When
meet
you
you.
were two.
you have got to
Hi,
watch
Gloria.
these boys, I promise you. Anyway, they brought something to mix all the
Yeah,
stuff with.
stir it up with, yeah.
Oh, look at this boy. Yeah, everybody. Hey, look at this
And it was
boy.
scrumpy.
She knew you were coming, didn't you?
I did know you were coming, yes. I brought apples and scrumpy and
Lovely,
everything.
yeah.
Do you like a bit
For
of
you.
scrumpy there?
I do. I was a bit worried about you sitting over on those bales over there, Gloria.
Why?
Well, you know.
No, we got the Wurzel
You got
stick.
that lovely
Yeah.
skirt on as well.
We go tramp of these on my bare feet. You want these done?
Well, I'm glad you came. I do actually, yeah.
So what are you going to do with these apples and
Right,
raisins and
two
so on?
really good puddings. The first one is, it's a really old-fashioned sort of country favourite, which I absolutely love. I remember when I was a little girl, when I was knee-high. And it's just stuffed apples and really good Bramley apples.
Mother used to make
Do you
that,
remember them?
yeah.
They're so good. You need one of these, apple corer.
You've got
and
two
just-
men here. Get them to core them
Do you wanna
for
do
you,
it
for
for me?
goodness sake.
Oh, I love it doing
Go on,
that. I like doing a bit of cooking. I do.
Do you wanna watch?
I do, yeah.
What do you cook? kind of thing do you
My
make?
speciality is mince and tatties.
Mince and tatties.
Mince and tatties, all the way from Scotland. And I do a mean Scotch broth as well. So.
Oh,
Good. And what
nice.
do you
That's
cook?
good country
I
cooking.
like cooking with cider.
Brilliant.
With
thank you.
cider,
Yeah,
genuinely.
pork chops and cider is
Pork chops,
absolutely
that sounds very
gorgeous.
nice.
Yeah, it does
Lovely.
sound
Yeah.
very good, yeah.
This
Pork
looks like
and cider
breakfast that
goes
you've got
really-
on the pan.
It does, doesn't it? Well, country muesli here, muesli. How do you pronounce
Oh,
it?
no, that's healthy, that is. isn't it?
Oh,
You
it's
like
very...
healthy.
Well, we got
No.
the
Parrot food,
cider.
isn't
We
it?
got the
Parrot
cider.
food.
Parrot food, yeah.
A bit of honey. So any kind of muesli. The luxury stuff is really nice. I got that especially for you boys, and because I knew you were coming. And you can put extra fruit in if you don't get the luxury stuff. So do you want to give that a bit of a stir? Probably not.
With this? No.
Oh, give it
Hold me
a stir,
straight,
give it a
Tom.
stir with that
We'll give
stick,
you
boy.
that stick.
Oh, look at that.
So
Oh,
that's a real good
God.
stir. And then what we do is just stuff the apples.
Do you want me to throw it up and like they do pancakes or anything like that?
I doubt very much would land in the pan
I don't
next.
think
I
so,
don't
no.
know.
Oh, it smells good already, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Yeah.
And just to remember, just to draw a little line around the apple like that, just so that when the skin splits, it doesn't sort of ruin the shape of the apple. And then it's really good. What we're going to do is just put them into the dish. So you get a nice dish, and then I'm going to you have to fight over who's going to put the scrumpy in the bottom, because they're going to bake in a bath of scrumpy
So you
cider.
obviously, as you've done, core the apples.
Core the apples,
Yes.
yeah.
Stuff them full of the mix.
Yeah, and lovely honey and butter to cook the muesli in, which is really
Do you
delicious.
fancy the idea of all of this?
Sounds very good for the
No,
tummy.
I don't fancy putting the scrumpy in the mix. I'd rather drink it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
better,
well.
yeah, don't want to waste
But
too much of it.
There's loads, there's a whole vat of it there, so there's
Oh.
plenty, there's plenty of it,
A
isn't there,
vat?
Gloria? Plenty of it, absolutely gorgeous.
I want to see Tommy take a good swig from that eventually.
I like this lady here. I like that.
Right, do you want to just put a good
Yeah.
swig of that in
Where do
there
you want
like
it?
that?
Over the
just
apples
no,
as well?
well, just on the
Just in
base
it?
like that. And
Yeah.
you could put a little bit of marzipan or almond paste.
Tell
just
me
in the
when,
top.
Anne, tell me when.
Oh, I think that's fine, because they're going to
She's
take about
heavy-handed.
40 minutes. You are a bit, aren't you? But
Want to have a bit of a taste of that to make sure it's all right, Tommy?
I am.
Tommy,
a good swig. Woo.
Do you want you
Do
to
this, mate.
Now I'm
have a
going to
taste
get
of
the
it from the
rescue-
bottle?
Oh, it is.
dry your...
I like this
You
idea.
like this, yeah.
Hey, I didn't say too much. I said just a taste.
Sweet, dry, medium.
Oh, nectar. From there.
Nectar.
You know I'm not. No, you're not having none. You're driving.
Nice drink it. That's how you're going to do it. That's how they do
Oh,
it in summer. That's how they do it in
Is that
Somerset.
the way you do it?
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Hey.
Takes
I
a
am driving, yeah.
countryman to show you how
That's
to
nice,
do
very
that.
Is it
spicy.
good? If there's a bit of sediment at the bottom, you're supposed to shake it, aren't you?
Well, I'll
And,
drink the sediment first then, shall I?
Look at those lovely
So
apples.
look at
Aren't they
those boys.
gorgeous?
What do you reckon to those?
They're wonderful.
Actually, that's a
Yeah.
very good tip about putting the line around the outside.
It is
around
actually,
the
isn't it?
circumference, yeah.
Because otherwise they
Very
do
good.
split. And I would serve those with lots of custard, really good thick custard,
Yeah.
and probably some cream on the top as well.
Beautiful.
Let me show you this other recipe.
Wonder,
though,
do
'cause
you
this-
think I've had that before? Go on over.
Listen, it's taken a lot of expenditure to put that there.
Goodness, yeah. Years and
You're
years.
making Gloria and I look good, though, aren't we, Gloria?
Oh, I'm holding mine in.
Now, look at this one. Are you good at cracking eggs?
It depends how you want them cracked.
Well, just-
yeah, quite easy.
Just into this bowl here. So we've got 4 eggs. This is
He's going to show off now
sugar
doing it with
and
one
flour.
hand.
No, I'm not. How about you, buddy?
I'm not gonna watch
Go
that.
on, go on, go on. Just into that.
I don't
That's
very
fine.
good at this.
No shell.
Keep
no
your head
shell.
down. Oh.
No shell at all.
I've not done it.
Go on.
Well done
That's
there,
it.
Tommy.
Now the other
Good.
3, and we've got about 1 minute.
So where do we go with this?
Oh, just no, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay, so what did you have?
Okay,
You had
so they've got flour and sugar, and eggs
How
in
many
here.
eggs?
It's 4 of flour, 4 of sugar, 4 eggs. It's really easy to remember.
4 of everything, yeah.
And then we're going to put some cream in and beat it up really well. This is a recipe that I was given by a monk, actually.
I didn't
who-
even know you knew a monk.
Well, I do actually. And it's called Downside Pudding from Downside Abbey, which is down in the
yeah.
south. Do you know
Yeah,
it?
yes.
Oh, give
Yeah.
that a good old beat.
That sounds good.
Good
doesn't
old
it?
beating.
You've
What's
got about 30 seconds to finish
Right.
this.
Oh, my wife gets me to do the Yorkshire puddings every time, you can tell.
Well, that's it. It's just simply a batter. And then what we do is I've cooked some apple over there with some cider and some raisins.
Did you do
A
that
little
in the
bit of
oven,
honey.
for example?
No, you could just on the
the top,
hob in a bit
okay.
of butter, and you kind of poach the apples. And then all you do is, let me grab this here. I'll let you pour it because you're nearest. That just gets
Oh,
poured
it's not
all
very
over
good,
the apple.
yeah. I know
Poured all over the top.
All
and then
over the
do you
top.
have one in the oven,
Yeah.
Anne?
And I've also got one in the oven, Gloria.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry, I
in the oven as well.
Sounds like a good summer
Just pour
song.
it over. And that.
She's a good Yorkshire woman, this
Oh,
one.
God, how are you?
So this is the
Wow.
finished product then.
This
That
is the
looks
finished product.
lovely,
And you know,
doesn't
it's such a simple pudding. They're lovely fluffy apples at the bottom and the batter on the side. You see how quick it was to do. No sort of messing
No.
about, no lengthy process.
Tommy looks
really
very
is
professional,
That
isn't
is,
he?
yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, you lick the
Very
plate out in a
Love
minute.
that.
Fantastic.
I feel like
really,
that,
really
I
good.
would.
Well, I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, boys. Get ready to taste some of that. I'm going to bring Anne just over here. Excuse me, Pete,
Yeah,
just
sure
one
enough,
second.
yeah.
Because this is a Food
It's
Safety
National
Week.
Food Safety Week, yeah.
Just a couple of your favourite tips
And
here on
just
safety in the
really
kitchen.
to highlight the importance of
Have
just...
a taste, boys, by the way, out of the casserole.
Yeah,
Help
just
yourselves.
some spoons on your
There's a
right.
spoon in the drawer.
Spoon on your
Yeah.
right, just
Well,
on the
which one?
I
worktop.
was looking for a shovel.
One of the messages is about the importance of washing hands.
Yes.
And there are lots of products on the market. I mean, obviously, good old soap and water is really, really important. But
What do you keep? You keep these wipes and things
you
very
keep
handy,
the
do you?
wipes
Yeah.
in the kitchen, but any of the products with bacterial sort of product in them are really, really
Right.
good. The other thing is, the main thing
board.
is the boards. Now, not everybody can afford a collection of boards like this, and we're not saying do, but just to illustrate the importance of keeping meat, raw meat, separate from cooked meat, and using a separate board, if you can,
each one.
for each one.
Okay.
When you've got the colour-coded ones, this is obviously quite important because it's the red for raw meat,
Okay.
and they're colour-coded down. Keeping raw meat separate at the bottom of the fridge is really
in
important.
containers?
In containers. And a good tip, I always think, when you bring it home from the supermarket, open the packets, open the cellophane off, and put your own wrapping on, your own coverings on, and keep them separated
I
in
think
the
these
fridge.
are terrific for the summer,
There's
aren't they?
so
Just to
many
keep
flies
food
around
covered,
that,
I
yeah,
know.
one fly can carry hundreds of thousands of bacteria, and so much food poisoning now, and I think it's just so important just to be aware of your own personal hygiene, keeping food cool,
Separate.
clean and covered, yeah.
And,
also
tea towels,
tea
'cause
towels.
that's another
These
thing.
harbour absolutely millions of bacteria, so wash them every day, you know, wash them twice a day. Don't reuse them. Keep cats and dogs, if possible, out of the kitchen. I mean, they're very nasty bug, toxoplasmosis, which, you know, particularly
Well,
if
and-
you're pregnant,
Don't
I
is
mean,
taste
it's
really...
all
good
common
either.
sense, but
It
a
is,
timely reminder.
yeah.
And these boys are chuckling away over here. Have you tasted any
Now,
of
what
it
do you
yet?
reckon?
That
What
is
do
a
you reckon?
miracle. That is a
Is it?
miracle.
Is it?
Did you love it?
Beautiful.
Tell you what, that is
I
absolutely
reckon keep-
gorgeous. You
keep
folks should
cats-
try this out, honestly. It's really
Well,
good.
so do you want to take her on tour with you? Take her on
cats
tour
and-
with you. Go
no,
on.
keep cats and dogs out the kitchen because they don't taste very good.
No, they don't know. And they don't dry very well in the microwave either.
No.
Oh, the old ones are the best.
Oh, they are.
Anyway, boys, success. But we'll see you later on anyway. But I
was
hope the
lovely.
record
Okay,
is number
excellent.
one. And
Good.
thanks to Anne
That is
Stark.
Thank you very
gorgeous.
Well, the Worsons will be happy to keep them well fed. And by the way, if you want information on any of the recipes that we've shown you today, I'll tell you exactly how to find them because you can turn to page 411 of 5 Text. Now, after the break, we're going to be meeting a couple of ice maidens who became the first British women to conquer both the North and South Poles and are coming in from the cold today to tell us about their intrepid journey. So we'll see you right after the break.
New Impulse Anti-Perspirant. Protects against odor and perspiration. Free your arms.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
I've always enjoyed football, but I can't play anymore. Last year I was on a ladder at work when it collapsed. I hit the floor really hard, severely injuring myself. Life's difficult when an injury means you can't work. I called Claims Direct and discovered I was entitled to compensation. They worked really hard fighting my case and I was awarded £10,000.
Carl is glad he chose Claims Direct. Right now we're helping over 60,000 people get justice. And remember, if your claim is not successful, it won't cost you a penny. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, at work, on the road, or a trip or fall anywhere, then contact Claims Direct today. For free advice 7 days a week, call 0800 970 6566 and speak to one of our Claims Direct specialists. That's 0800 970 6566. Call now.
Like him, you could be missing some great channels on digital television right now. Call NTL on this number, and you can get the pick of them without needing a dish. But that's not all. With NTL Digital Plus, you can use your telly to browse free websites, send and receive emails, and play games, all without running up a bill. It's got to be worth a look, eh? Call now on 0500 500 400 and ask about NTL Digital Plus.
Here's some important news for all AA and RAC members. I'm in one of 6,000 breakdown trucks on call for Direct Line Rescue. Here we are. Great. Direct Line Rescue has one of the fastest response times. This is Collins, Andy from Direct Line Rescue, and it's now available to everyone. So you can join today by calling 0845 246 4000, and they even guarantee to beat the price you're currently paying with the AA or RAC. Watch yourself. So call Direct Line Rescue now on 0845 246 4000.
Hello, want a low-cost loan at your convenience? Whatever you want 800 to £15,000 for, call Lombard Direct on 0800 2 15,000.
Our rates reflect your circumstances, and our typical APR is just 9.2%.
I've just got us a great deal on a loan.
For an unsecured personal loan of 800 to £15,000, just call Lombard Direct now on 0800 2 15,000.
Thank you very much. The cider has all gone, I have to tell you that, just for the record. Now, welcome back to the programme. Now, have a picture of this, because can you imagine pulling a packed sled weighing 14.5 stone for nearly 500 miles, battling temperatures of minus 40 degrees, bitter Arctic winds, and constantly on the lookout for polar bears, all in an attempt to make history? Well, that's exactly what our next two guests have done, because after conquering the South Pole, they've just returned from the North Pole, and in so doing, they've become the first British women to achieve this quite unique feat. Now, the trek took them nearly 2 months to complete, And although they didn't encounter any polar bears, the constant movement and thinning of the ice floes actually beneath their feet provided a big enough hazard. Well, happily for us, they're back, recovering from some mild frostbite, and not telling exactly where at the moment, and enjoying the heat of the summer. So will you please give the biggest welcome and congratulations to Catherine Hartley and Fiona Thornwell. Believe, looking at this packed sled, that you each had one of these.
Yes.
So, I mean, what was it like? I mean, not only doing all the walking and trekking and climbing and whatever else you had to do, but dragging this behind you.
It was fairly relentless, actually. Yeah, pretty heavy. Kind of got lighter as time went on, and then we get another resupply of food, and it would sort of get heavy again. We would have to sort of weigh it up.
So what all do you have in here, Fiona? Just give me an idea of the kind of things that you were actually dragging behind you all the time.
Yeah, it's obviously our food, fuel, tent, all the camping equipment, shovel. We'd have to have a gun because of the fear of polar bears. And then just a few changes of clothing, but it's just really extra clothing. It wasn't a new outfit for another day. It was just if we went into an open water lead, something like that.
Now, when you went to the South Pole, that was one thing, and that was a great achievement. But to go to the North Pole, I mean, it is all ice, isn't it? So give me an idea of, you know, the thickness of the ice and how that used to break up virtually under your feet. What would happen?
Yeah, it was constantly changing. Obviously, you're going over the ocean, and so the tides will affect it, the wind will affect it as well. But, I mean, the ice flows will actually meet, and as it does, it just crushes together and it builds up these blocks of ice into what is called pressure ridges, and they can move 30, 40 feet high. So, obviously, we'd have to find the best route, the easiest route up and over these things. And, obviously, you pull your sledge, and sometimes you'll pull it to the top and watch it merrily fall down to the bottom.
Oh, no.
So it could be very frustrating.
So, I mean, very arduous, I mean, the whole thing, really. And yet you came in something like 10 days ahead of time, didn't you?
Yes.
So what was in your favour?
I think weather. It was a very, very cold winter, which, yes, made it very, very tough for us. But by the same token, it made the journey a lot easier in that everything was frozen. When it got a little bit warmer, what would happen sometimes was the ice would open up, revealing just, you know, running water underneath, which we would have to find a way around, and that can sometimes take days.
And that, of course, could have been extremely dangerous for you, couldn't it?
Yes.
If it had opened up too much. I suppose it was a bit of a race against the warmer temperatures, wasn't it?
In a sense, it was, yes.
We have some film, obviously, out and about in your expedition, so maybe you would talk me through exactly, you know, what was happening at this point. So here it is.
Yes, obviously pulling our sledge, I mean, that's against a major wind, and so, I mean, it probably would be minus 46, but with the wind chill, I mean, that just takes it down to probably a low 70. And then up and over pressure ridges, just hauling it up continually, really, weren't we? So, but we worked really well as a team, and so you'd help each other with your sledge up and over to Struga here as well.
You see, I would think, looking at that film, that it's hard enough just to do the walking part, never mind having to pull the sled.
Yeah.
So it's hazardous, really, all the way.
Yes, yes, yeah. You just have to keep on looking after each other. But sleeping at those cold temperatures initially, I found that very, very difficult. And especially when you'd wake up and you'd have ice just around your face and having to come out of your sleeping bag and help each other just brush that off your face as well.
Actually, you've got a kind of shield. What do you call this officially?
Just a face mask.
A face mask.
So that would just cover our face entirely and keep it warm.
Of course, so you'd have to wear those all the time, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Now, you mentioned this tent. Now, Fiona, your husband went with you, the party of 4.
Yes.
And your husband went. In fact, I think it was your husband who encouraged you, really, to do the whole thing, didn't he?
He did for the South especially, but he did say that no British woman also hadn't walked to the North Pole, so I suppose it did plant a seed.
So the 4 of you all shared this tent. So it gets rather cosy. You get to know each other rather well in circumstances like that, don't you?
Very intimate.
What do you think it did for your relationship and your marriage, you know, to have to go through this and to be able to do it together?
Yeah, I think it's just really tightened our bond, and yeah, it brought us together much, much more. And obviously we can share this experience and just relive it daily, which we're doing at the moment.
Well, I met him just outside the door there, and he said it is just ridiculous to think that you girls have done the North and the South Poles inside a year. Is it within the year or just over a year?
Just over a year, yeah.
I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it? What's your motivation for doing it, Catherine?
I I think it was always adventure. I had a sort of obsessive sense of adventure when I was very young. Got myself a travel fund when I was about 14 and sort of planned a big trip around the world, and eventually went away when I was about 25. When I came back from that, I just kind of was desperate, I suppose, to go where nobody else ever went, and that kind of got me interested in the polar regions, and I started reading more and more, and it just came out of that, really.
Well, it's a terrific achievement. I want to find out about your food, and I also want to find out where exactly your frostbite is. So we'll do that after the break, but for the moment, congratulations and well done. Really, really something to be proud of. Thank you. Now we will be continuing our chat with Catherine and Fiona right after the break, so don't go away.
We all want to keep fit and healthy. Well, here's a great way to afford the very best in healthcare. HSA. With HSA, one small payment covers all your family for up to 21 great health benefits. For the equivalent of just £5.40 a week, a family of 4 could, each year, receive up to £444 towards dental treatment, £372 towards optical care, £1,380 towards physiotherapy, £6,825 of hospital cash benefits, and much, much more. Whether you receive NHS or private treatment, the cash is yours to spend however you like. And when you join, we'll send you £15 worth of Marks & Spencer's vouchers. For more information or to join HSA today, call 0800 08 54321. That's 0800 08 54321.
Since he discovered Frisky's Go-Cat, I'm not on the menu anymore. Phew! That's because he thinks it's flipping delicious. I mean, just look what it does for him. That coat, those eyes.
More cats eat Frisky's Go-Cat than any other dry cat food.
Hey, how you doing? Oh. Yep, he only has eyes for one cat food these days. Go-Cat, for cats with an appetite. For life.
Darling, just look at these bills. There's just no way we can afford to go on holiday this year.
Oh, don't worry. Look, Sue next door was telling me about Norton Finance. They've arranged a loan to pay off all her debts, and she's going on holiday tomorrow.
I know, but the bank's already turned us down for a loan.
It says here that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, let's give them a call. It is free.
Yes, at Norton Finance, our homeowner loans are for any purpose, and whatever your circumstances, we've got a plan to suit you. We can consolidate all your debts, credit cards and loans into one low monthly payment, which could leave you with that extra cash to spend on other things. So call us now free on 0800 929 100.
Hey, look, the cheques arrived from Norton Finance.
That was quick. I'm glad you phoned.
Yeah, and they were really helpful. So we can have that holiday now.
So call Norton Finance now free on 0800 929 100. Lines are open 24 hours a day.
If you find yourself in the red, you may be rejected for credit. But as a homeowner, you could help yourself to cash by remortgaging with the mortgage lender. Call the mortgage lender now on 0500 410 410. Pay off existing loans. Clear expensive credit card debt. It's your money to do as you please. One name, one number, one lender. The mortgage lender. Call 0500 410 410 now.
If you've been hurt in an accident in the last 3 years, you may be entitled to compensation. Like Keith Early.
Yeah, I was knocked off my bicycle while I was cycling round the roundabout. I phoned the National Accident Helpline, and they found me a specialist solicitor in my area, and I was awarded just over £6,000 in compensation. It was a no-win, no-fee claim.
Find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
Welcome back on this Monday. Now, today we're delighted to have with us the first 2 British women to walk to both the North and South Poles. So will you welcome back Catherine Hartley and Fiona Thornwell. I just was saying we dragged you in all your stop you. Actually, your boots. Just put your boot up there, Fiona. They look very thick and clumpy, but I bet they're probably quite light, really.
Yes, they're not too bad at all. Yes, yeah, very warm.
But you apparently, when you were there, your circulation, particularly in your legs, you had to wear a lot of clothes.
Yes, most people would probably only wear 2 layers underneath my windsuit, but I actually had to wear 6. So yes.
See, I actually can't imagine what it'd be like to be 40 below. I mean, it must just eat at you everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I found after 3 minutes, that was as much as I could do to stand still, and after that it was just moving again, just really keeping the body warm.
So where did you get the frostbite? Truth.
Well, in Antarctica, I got frostbite on my finger, and I thought that might come back, but it didn't. But in the North Pole, I actually got it on my bum. I think that was...
So that made it a bit awkward.
Yes.
And you, Fiona?
In the South Pole, it was in my inner thigh, of all places.
Oh, no.
No.
With all that walking?
Yes, constant chafing of my clothing. I found it very hard to walk at stages, I must admit.
That's painful.
That was painful.
So did you still have some of that then on the North Pole?
It started to flare up on my outer thigh this time, and then I got frostnip much higher up in my body.
Oh, well, one of the hazards. I mean, that's probably the worst part of it. Let's talk a little about preparation. I mean, we looked at the sled, and of course it's packed, and each of you had to pull one of these. But what preparation did you do before you went to be fit enough to do that?
Yeah.
Well, just really hard slog training. I would train 2 hours every night, almost. One night I would be pulling car tyres up a hill in a farm. It simulates pulling the sledge, really. It's quite difficult to, develop those muscles in the gym. So actually pulling a great big car tyre, and then maybe 2, and then maybe 3, I found was the best way to actually
Where did you do yours, Fiona?
Yeah, well, actually, I just did mine in fields nearby home. So I pulled a truck tyre.
Got some very odd looks, I should think.
Yes, yeah, we got very well known in the neighbourhood for sure. And if I was out without, it's like, well, where is it?
There's a tyre. Where are your 2 tyres? That's just an odd thing to do. The other thing that I loved actually was the fact that your mum dropped in by plane.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yes, it was on our second resupply. And yes, she decided to come all the way out. I mean, she was on the ground for maybe only half an hour, but it was absolutely fantastic to see her, something to really look forward to. And I think it really helped her actually seeing us in the environment, and it's something that she can have with her now.
Did you bring any little treats and things that you'd baked or whatever?
Chocolate cake, caramel biscuits, shortbread, lots of little goodies that we've been really craving.
I'm looking at the plate of chocolate biscuits and things, because you ate apparently 6,000 calories a day just to keep your strength up.
That's right.
Bliss to be able to do that for a while, isn't it?
12 chocolate bars on our last day in 17 hours.
Oh my goodness, just to give you the energy. Now, both you girls are back working.
Yes.
What do you do, actually?
I'm a recruitment consultant.
And I'm a stage manager at the BBC.
So what's it like, having done 2 expeditions like that, suddenly to have to settle down to the routine of daily job?
I think initially, to be fair, it's been quite a shock, because it's such a beautiful environment, and we've been so privileged to have experienced it, and to come back and having to step up into, well, a few high gears than I've been in, because life was very simple out there.
Sure.
But it's great to be back
is
now.
it hard to settle down, really? Or how do you feel?
When I got back, I think for the first week I felt very lost, actually, and I kind of thought, well, the best thing is to actually just go straight back to work. Otherwise, I could feel myself just drifting forever. So it has got me back into a routine, but it's a struggle. It is, yeah.
Are you happy to be home, though?
Yeah.
You're a home bird for a while.
Yeah.
But we had David Hemphill-Adams on the programme last week. And, of course, as soon as he gets one expedition finished, he's just sort of plotting and planning the next.
Yes.
So do you think you'll go out again?
I don't think so. I really do feel very satisfied and content, which is a fantastic feeling.
Well, it's a great honour to have, to be the first to do anything, but 2 women to have done that's great. So thank you both very much indeed, and many congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, we're more used to seeing our next guest on television shows like Watchdog, The Holiday Programme and Heaven and Earth. But for the purposes of a new show which starts on BBC tonight, she had, well, a bit of a change of a job. Now, the series is called Danger Celeb at Work, where a group of celebrities have to take a demanding job for a full week. And here we see Alice Beer as entertainment officer at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island in the Bahamas.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now, get set. Okay, ladies, off you go. Gentlemen, you've got to stand there. The water is ice cold. A little bit naughty. Ladies, ready? Jim from Kansas City has the unfortunate unfortunate task of judging how many ping pong balls you have about your person. How about that for a figure? That's fantastic. I think maybe you ought to see your surgeon when you get back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 41.
Any more balls there? Are you sure, madam? You're not concealing any more balls?
48, 49.
Oh, she's won by 4 ping pong balls with 49.
Well, as you can see, the series seems to be a lot of fun, and other highlights to look forward to are Richard Whiteley as a flying postman in Oz, and Vanessa Feltz in Las Vegas, assisting in marrying very eager couples, so that's something to watch out for. However, this afternoon, we're going to concentrate purely on Alice Beer. Watching you do that thing, I can't believe it. You're going to have to throw your leg over that if you go that way.
Shall I jump?
Yeah, jump.
Oh,
You're
I
an
can
active
shimmy.
girl. Yeah, you're
I can shimmy.
You're a thin girl.
Oh, I don't know about
Listen,
that.
looking at you doing all that entertainment stuff, did you actually like doing that?
No, I hated it. I'd have made an appalling red coat. I mean, you'd think I'm in the entertainment business, I'd quite like that, but no, all those games. I mean, if they were happening when I was on holiday, I would be the other end of the beach. I hate all that poolside games, don't you?
I do a bit, I must say. But when it was first mooted that you should go and do this, you probably thought, oh, the Bahamas.
Well, that's what
easy.
they rang me up and said a week in the Bahamas. So, yeah, at a luxury resort. You're not going to say no, are you? And to get paid as well. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing. But the concept, I think, is quite good. I mean, everyone believes that celebrities have a really cushy, glamorous life.
Which they do, of course.
Of course. We know that. We get ridiculously well paid to do nothing, just wear makeup. So we, you know, the idea is basically you give celebrities a hard time by giving them hard jobs.
So you had to do it for a week solidly.
Yep.
Which is actually quite concentrating.
Well, yeah, it's quite hard because you go out there with a camera crew. Normally, when you're filming for the holiday programme or whatever, you're all in it together and you discuss the script the night before. You all have a drink together and discuss what you're going to do. And I like being in control. I'm pretty much a control freak. But on this, they don't tell you what's happening at all. I didn't know what job I was going to do at all. Day to day, minute by minute, I had no idea. So I really didn't like that at all. And it meant that it was kind of the crew and everybody on the whole resort versus me.
Sure.
So.
What was that resort like, by the way?
It's interesting. It's like a whole island given over to sort of a fishy theme park, if you like. It's like Atlantis. I mean, I can't say it's a nice... I mean, it's not my cup of tea, I have to say, but there's a lot of fruit machines, big casino, and yet there's these big aquariums everywhere. It's very bizarre.
So did you have to learn to show people around the aquarium and everything?
Yes, what I had to do, my first job was basically to narrate the Predator Lagoon. There's this huge lagoon which is full of about, I don't know, 50 different types of fish. I mean, fish outnumber guests on this resort by about 6 to 1. So I don't particularly like fish. I like eating them, but, you know, if they come onto my plate in a restaurant, I ask them to take the head and the tail off. So, you know.
So you had to look at a lot of fish during this week?
I did. I had to study fish. I was given this piece of paper and told to study the fish so I could give a guided talk around the Predator Lagoon. You know, I can just about do a goldfish from a cod, if I'm lucky.
So how did you manage in the end?
Well, I had to do it. I mean, it was hard work. You know, the crew were in the bar having a drink and, you know, at night, and I had to learn my, you know, my fish. It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? But you have to do it. That's the thing about these jobs. You have to do them. You have to take them quite seriously.
Well, I think it's a very novel idea. It's been done on television before,
yes.
But what I'm saying is it's very intriguing to see people outside their normal mould and doing something different. Now, Richard Whiteley was on the programme recently as well. He actually enjoyed his trip to Oz, but like you, he found it really, really tough. So I'm going to show a little clip of him in his position. He's going to be a flying postman in Australia.
Lesson 1. Richard needs to learn how to balance the plane with both mail and passengers.
Go through a load sheet. We have 6 big passengers. We load them all in the back. When I go to take off, the aircraft will pitch up and stall, and that's a fine how do you do to Australia.
It wouldn't get the mail delivered, would it?
You wouldn't.
Can I just ask, this is the year 2000, you know, where they tell me there's got a few computers around. Why are we still doing plastic rulers and pencils?
Because it's all about blaming someone. If you crash, I'll be blaming you because you did the load sheet.
Overwhelmed and underexperienced, Richard is beginning to get nervous.
Do that weight and trim.
It's a heck of a responsibility, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There's no way you're going out on this plane unless you can square away these things. It wasn't too difficult, was it?
Well, it was a bit difficult, but I'm sort of getting used to it.
It'll be interesting to see how Richard actually made out.
And he looks hot and bothered there, doesn't he?
He did look a bit. He said he found it really, really, really tough. What do you think was the toughest assignment you had while you were away?
Well, gutting fish was pretty horrible because you had to do about 20 pounds of them, chopping them all up. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I was smelling bleach to get away from the smell of fish.
This is what, to feed the fish?
Yeah, to feed the fish. How the man who does it remains married, I've got no idea. I stank for days afterwards. The worst one, though, was feeding the sharks. You had to have these buckets full of fish, and you had to wade through the shark pool to get
the sharks in it?
to podium with 30 nurse sharks, I think they're called, inside this pool. So not too happy about that, but the person who I was doing it with said, don't worry, we just chuck out the fish, we distract them and we wander through and then we feed them. Fine. So we got these poles and wandered through and it was okay. And we fed them and they really go for it. They snatched this pole, this metal pole, and really took the end off it. So they were quite serious about getting their food. And then we came to the end of it, it was all done, and yes, well done, the audience loved it, and off we go, and now we just got to cross the pool again. One problem, we had no fish left in our bucket.
So you could have been dessert.
So I could have been nibbled around. I mean, if they'd taken it off my thighs, I wouldn't have minded, but I think it was my ankles they were going to go for. But
so I sort of gathered that you were probably quite glad to get home.
Yes. I felt a bit hard done by because it did rain every day, and you don't expect that in the Bahamas.
No, you do not.
I don't
to
want
have to work and have rain at the same time
exactly.
is a bad combination.
Yeah, forget this easy
Now listen,
life.
Gossip time in the nicest possible way, because obviously we identify you very much with Watchdog. How many years did you do that for?
Longer than most people think, because I was a researcher and a director and a producer for about, I think, 3 years before I was actually on screen. So it was about 9 years in total.
Because, of course, Anne Robinson, I mean, since she left Watchdog and everything, she's gone on to do all these amazing things in America, known coast to coast.
How nice was that?
Does that surprise you in a way that she went over to game shows?
Yes, I think it probably does. That actually, I always knew that she was going to be the ultimate star, the huge name. She's such an extraordinary woman.
What made you think that she was going to be this mega worldwide star?
She's so smart. I mean, a woman like that who's so sassy, so clever. Every little piece of advice she gave me, whether it was about makeup or men, she was right. I mean, damn her, I didn't want her to be right half the time. It got very annoying, but yeah, she was right. Whenever she changed a script, you hated her for it, but she was right, So, yeah, it's funny that it's game shows, but, she's got a sense of humour, and people believe she's that nasty, but she's doing it all with a very big tongue in her cheek. So.
We always felt that she was a bit sharp with you, actually, in the programme, that you had to pander to it a little bit.
She was quite nice to me afterwards.
But you did have to pander a bit on the programme.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it was like I answered back occasionally.
Good for you.
Occasionally, but
now you hit the headlines actually after the BAFTAs yourself. Now
you're horrible, aren't you?
No, but here's the Alice that we know and love. Sort of
sweet and innocent.
Yeah, sort of hard-working journalist, etc. All of a sudden, we see with all these capers after the BAFTA. Let's have a look at one of the photographs.
I'm riding a bike,
What's so unusual about that? After the BAFTAs, okay.
The fact that it's chained to the railing still is a little unusual. No, I tell you, actually, it was a very funny story. I don't know how I got on that bike in that catsuit. It was quite extraordinary.
Skin tight.
It was a bit skin tight. It was very funny. We came out, my boyfriend and I came out of the ceremony. It had been a long old do, and I won't deny I'd had a couple of, glasses of champagne. I wasn't completely drunk, of course. I was jolly. But we came out, and there was an extraordinary pack of photographers who obviously hadn't got the pictures they needed to go in the papers. So, I mean, you could tell they were following other people home and into, local stores. And they suddenly went, shh. It's like being Brad Pitt all of a sudden, or Julia Roberts. They went mad. And our car wasn't there. So they followed it up the street, up Park Lane, back down Park Lane, up Park Lane. And we were saying, look, this is ridiculous. What do we have to do to make you go away? So we were having a joke with them, and they said, go on, Alice, get on the bike. So, of course, I got on the bike and stuff like that. And, I probably was a bit silly with them, but we were larking around. We had fun.
They got great lines, of course, with the surname of Beer.
I know.
Of course. And then a good snog with your boyfriend in the back of the limousine as well, which I haven't shown.
No, I wouldn't let you, Gloria, would I? No, because he'd be too embarrassed. But no, it wasn't really. We just said, look, they're still taking photos through the window of the car. What are we going to do? And we said, go on, let's. So we just went like that completely, and then just slunk down into the car thinking, oh no, and waited for the phone call the next day.
Pages of it the next day.
Wasn't that funny?
But hey, now, Alice, you know how to get the front pages of every newspaper.
I know, just go out in a cat suit and ride bikes.
So listen, this series begins tonight. When is your actual episode coming up?
I think I'm programme 5, so about 5 weeks.
So we've got to wait a few
but
weeks for you.
You have, but there's some great people doing things. I think Angela Rippon and Claudia Winkleman's doing something. So there's some good people. And Jeremy Spake's on in the programme that I'm doing.
What does he
Never
do?
get him to move your stuff from one place to another. He's a
Fatal.
removal man. He's rubbish.
Keep him at the airport.
Yeah,
eh?
definitely. Back to that airport.
Alice Beer, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You look
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you, Alice. Now, after the break, we're going to be discussing the plight of British dolphins and their battle for survival. Actually, we should keep you on for the dolphins, I know. And then the Wurzels remix their 1976 #1 Combine Harvester, all in aid of supporting the farmers in crisis. So please stay with us.
Choosing your summer holidays? You should book with a First Resort. Price-beating offers for some of the UK's top tour operators. You choose the holiday you want, either from one of those brochures or from the First Resort website, and just call them. If you've already had a quote from another travel agent, call the First Resort, and they'll beat it by 20 quid per booking. What a bargain, eh?
We promise to give you a lower price than you've been quoted for your summer 2001 holiday. Just call 0870 050 9888. The First Resort.
Don't forget your sandwiches.
I'm late again, the boss will kill me.
I told you to call Yes Car Credit.
They couldn't help me. Not when that other car credit company turned me down.
Yes, we could, because we're different. We supply and finance our own cars, so we have the power to say yes. We could also take your old car as full deposit. And get you into a quality-assured car like this. Don't forget your sandwiches. We exclusively approve people refused credit elsewhere, so call now on 0800 783 1439. We have the power to say yes.
You can trust the personal injury company that's already settled thousands of claims to help you. All you have to do is talk to the accident group.
If you've had a motor accident that wasn't your fault, either as a driver or as a passenger,
Slipped or tripped while out and about, or suffered an injury at work.
You could claim compensation today. The call costs you nothing and could win you thousands. Because with the accident group, it's...
what's stopping you? Our experienced, friendly staff are waiting for your call. Call 0800 040 7777 and you could make a claim today.
I was working in a kitchen in a local restaurant. I was taking a tray of ribs out of the oven and the fat spilled onto my legs. A year on, I received £6,600.
We've already recovered over £100 million for our clients. To claim, call the accident group on 0800 040 7777. Where there's blame, there's a claim.
Are you looking for a loan, but don't know which way to turn? Perhaps you want to consolidate your existing debts. You may have a low credit rating because of previous credit problems, or your employment status. You may wish to borrow a considerable amount of money and repay over a period of time to suit you. One call and Ocean Finance will point you in the right direction. All Ocean Finance ask is that you're a homeowner looking to borrow between £3,000 and £50,000. And please remember that all circumstances will be considered. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So, for that any-purpose homeowner loan, call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
We'd like to give you a helping hand with a free Whiskers Kitten Care Pack. There's an informative guide, Whiskers Kitten pouches, and money off coupons. Call 0800 096 9690 to get your hands on one before they get too full.
Hello again. Now, still Still to come in the programme, those farmers' favourites, the Wurzels, dust down their combine harvester for a barnstorming performance of a 70s classic. So you've got to wait till you see this right at the end of the programme. Now, yesterday saw the start of a summer-long campaign to protect the dolphin populations which inhabit British waters. According to the thousands of campaigners who've already taken to the streets with sponsored walks right across the country, pollution and fishing nets pose a very serious threat to the health of our resident dolphins. Colonies of dolphins can be found all ranging from Scotland right down to Cornwall, and indeed to the Shannon Estuary in Ireland, which is where wildlife expert Terry Nutkin watched and joined in with the dolphins at play.
13 years ago, I came to the southwest of Ireland to swim with Ireland's only known resident bottlenose dolphin, Fungie in Dingle Bay. Since then, a group of resident bottlenose dolphins have been discovered just a little way up the coast in the beautiful Shannon Estuary. The marina at Kilruss has become a centre for dolphin watching, and the estuary has been nominated as a special area of conservation. Dr. Simon Barrow is the man behind the Shannon Dolphin and Wildlife Foundation and is involved in closely studying and monitoring the group.
There's something extra special about seeing wild animals in the wild, you know. Gone are the days where we capture these animals and put them into our environment, you know, in a zoo or whatever, a safari park, and then we go and see them. If you want to go and see these animals, you go and see them in their environment. And for dolphins, it means getting in the boat and going out in, you know, in sometimes less than ideal conditions. So I think there's a much more excitement, much more thrill to see them doing their thing in their environment.
Well, I tell you what, Simon, enough of this idle chatter. I reckon we ought to get out there and have a look around.
Well, I think we should give it a try, yeah.
Atlantic bottlenose dolphins are in fact marine mammals, and they give birth to live young. They have the same body temperature as human beings, and they can live in the wild up to 40 years. This is one of the very few places in Europe where you can get close to these beautiful marine mammals. Dolphins occupy a special place in everyone's heart, and I love them because they instill in me a great sense of freedom.
Well, I have to tell you, not a dry hour in this house. Now, as I said a moment ago, there is a campaign stretching throughout the summer aimed at reversing the damage done to the health of our native dolphin colonies. And here to tell us more is one of those campaigners, that's Jill Moss, a volunteer with the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society. So, Jill, welcome to the programme. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Now, can you explain to me, because I know you're having lots of walks all over the country, had some yesterday, going to have them the rest of the summer. What is the main threat, do you feel, to the dolphins in particular?
There are several threats to the dolphins in the British waters, and we've got a whole 24 species ranging from the blue whale, which is the largest, to the smallest, which is the harbour porpoise. Some of those are bycatching, where they get caught up in the nets whilst people are fishing for food. Others are the noise pollution. That is really on the increase now. It's from offshore industry and vessels, and that interrupts completely with their echolocation system, which they rely on for communication.
I suppose even speedboats and water and
That's
so on, that also...
Increased boat activity, absolutely, Gloria, you're absolutely right. The tourist trade, the desire to be near whales and dolphins, to watch them, all of this, the jet skis, the fast boats, all of this adds to their frustration, to their problems, and not to mention degraded seas where fish are dying through pollution and food is becoming scarce for them.
So where are you with your lobbying system? I mean, what stage are you at now?
It's an ongoing problem to fight to keep British waters clean and to keep them safe. We do lots of different things. We have a UK programme which involves raising public awareness, going into schools, talking to children, future generations, about the threats that British whales and dolphins face. We do lobby, we do work through the legislative system as much as we possibly can, and in addition to all of that, we're just organising lots of events that people can get involved with, which raises money for research.
Actually, the dolphins in particular, they love to be with people, just as you mentioned. They want to come sort of just offshore. Yeah. And there's a very famous one, Fungi, isn't there?
Fungi in Ireland.
So where is Fungi now?
Fungi is in Ireland, and we don't know exactly where he is because he is a wild dolphin and he chooses to go wherever he is. But when he's spotted, he's done quite a lot of swimming with people. He's the one chasing after them, in fact, and he's very, very keen to have human contact.
And are there set places around our shores where you can actually go and swim with dolphins?
There are, not to swim with dolphins, but to watch the dolphins. In Moray Firth, we do have a wildlife centre where you can go along and you can learn more about them, and you can actually swim with the dolphins there. Other than that, there are lots of whales and dolphins all over our waters, but as I say, they're wild and you can't actually swim with them.
Because the dolphins, I mean, it's supposed to be very therapeutic, isn't it, to actually swim with them? And I thought there was a place, I thought I heard years ago of a place off the coast of Ireland where you actually could organise to go and swim with them and be in proximity.
That would probably be with dolphins that are in semi-captivity. And what we say at the Welland Dolphin Conservation Society is whilst it's lovely to want to swim with them and get close, we have to respect that they are wild creatures and they do like to have their freedom.
Well, no doubt your walks will be very successful in raising the profile. So thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us about them. They're lovely animals, lovely. I have to tell you, this is the moment I know you've all been waiting for today, because we're going to finish with a classic performance of the Wurzels Combine Harvester. It was, of course, a massive hit 25 years ago, and it's been specially remixed for release this year in aid of that very good cause, supporting the Farmers in Crisis Fund. So will you please put your hands together for the Wurzels? Yeah!
Get together and come on now, let's get together and come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres and you got 43. Now I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. She made I laugh. I drove my tractor through your haystack last night. I threw my pitchfork at your dog to keep quiet. Now someone's telling me that you're avoiding me. Come on now, darling, you got something I need. 'Cause I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres and you got 43. Now I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together and come on now, let's get together and come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I'll stick by you, I'll give you all that you need. We'll have twins and triplets, I'm a man built for speed. And you know I love you, darling, so give me your hand. 'Cause the thing I want the most is all the acres of land. For 7 long years I've been alone in this place. I sleep in the kitchen, it's a proper disgrace. Now if I cleaned it up, would you change your mind? I'll give up drinking scrumpy and that larder and lime. Well, I got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I got 20 acres and you got 43. Now I got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key. To the music, there's no white music. Won't be a grand couple at that last Wurzel dance. I wore brand new gaiters and me cardi right pants. In your new Sunday dress with perfume smelling grand. We had our voters stuck and us holding hands. Now I got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Now let's clean both passive ages. wait to get me hand on your land.
Yes! Woo! Excellent. Look at Anne Stirk. I tell you, look, she's got this stuff. Well, you've been rolling in this straw. Here are the boys.
Hey.
Well done, boys. That was just great fun.
Thank you.
The tragedy, it seems like 5 minutes since the first time around. I know. Anyway, thanks to the Wurzels, thanks to Anne and Jill. And that's where we have to leave it for today. 2:20 tomorrow, we'll be back, so join us then. So I hope you'll be here on time. We will be. Bye-bye.
From the natural